Hi there, Tracy here from Kazadans Equestrian. So you're new to horses and everybody is telling you that their way to train or teach a horse is the best way. If you're concerned or you don't know what to follow, then this is the video for you. So if you're new to horses, you are likely to be completely frazzled with everybody else's opinion, from what gear to buy, what feed to feed, and also how to train your horse. It can be really confusing working through the myriad of training techniques, trainers people tell you to follow, what is going to work and what isn't going to work. So I'm going to do a couple of videos and actually go back to super basics about what needs to be in any training technique for it to be able to work, to help you decide which training technique will work for you. So in my opinion, there are so many good trainers out there, and I am certainly not going to stand here and tell you how to train your horse, because there are some people who are much better at it than I am. But what I do like to think I can do is get through the myriad of advice and opinions to give you some facts so that you can make your own decisions. There are techniques based from old school techniques, natural horsemanship, more Western style training techniques, English techniques, different personalities online who profess that their training technique is the best. So which one is going to be the best one to work for you? In reality, all of these techniques that are successful are based on some really fundamental laws about learning. In this week's video, I'm going to talk about negative and positive reinforcement and what that actually really means. These fundamentals of learning are scientifically sound. They're around the ideas of negative and positive reinforcement, punishment, shaping, habituation, etc., etc., etc. Today, I'm going to talk about what positive and negative reinforcement is. I'm hoping that by slowly going through simply some of these definitions, you can go back and have a look at some of these training techniques and use your understanding of the words and combine that with what it is that you feel like you connect with the most as a training technique and choose the best way for you. For example, some particular trainer might work on an issue 90% under saddle and 10% on the ground. Now, if you're like me and not the strongest, most confident and skilled rider, then I'd really prefer a training technique to be 80 to 90% on the ground and 10 to 20 in the saddle. Some techniques rely on a presence that you may not have or you may have. And also you may want to look at, if you have a mentor, simply following the training technique that they use, just so that you can get some help. If you have a mentor, sometimes it's worth just following that until you learn a little bit more, so that you can get help with your techniques when you're struggling. So two of these really important concepts are the concept of negative and positive reinforcement. I feel that sometimes these are really poorly understood. So when we talk about negative and positive, think about this in more mathematical terms than conceptual terms. Well, when we talk about negative reinforcement, we do not mean something that is negative. We don't mean beating a horse or doing something that's bad or negative. What we mean is taking away. Much like mathematically, 5 - 3 = 2. So negative reinforcement is simply the concept that if something is taken away, it can reinforce a behavior. This is a very important concept in horse learning. You will hear many trainers or riding instructors talk about relief. A horse learns really well through relief. Now, relief is essentially leaving the horse alone. An example, I might like my horse to move its hind end to the left. So I take my whip and tap gently. Now I tap gently enough that that's slightly irritating to the horse, and I can increase that in intensity, but as soon as the horse moves away, I then take that reinforcer away. That is called negative reinforcement. So negative reinforcement is the taking away of something to help reinforce a behavior in the horse. So you can see that we use this a lot. Of course, in ridden, we kick and then we leave the horse alone, or we squeeze, or we give an aid and then we leave the horse alone when they get it right. That is relief, and that is using the concept of negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is the opposite. So positive is 5 plus 3 equals 8. So in positive reinforcement, we are adding something. This would be, for example, you get your horse to move sideways and then you provide it with a reward, a piece of carrot or something that the horse likes, a scratch on the wither, something that is positive to the horse. This can be a trickier way to train, but this is what's meant by the terms positive and negative in terms of reinforcing a behaviour. So let's go back to which training method to use. I'm going to go through some other terms in next week's video as well, just these two terms today, positive and negative reinforcement. If a training technique you are looking at utilises negative and positive reinforcement, so either taking away by providing relief or adding to by providing reward, it is likely to work if you are performing these correctly. So no matter who this trainer is, if it is using that concept of rewarding and relieving the horse, it is likely to get a result from your horse, and your horse is likely to learn. There's a little caveat in this. You've got only a short amount of time. Why are these trainers so good at what they do? One, they have done it so many times. They can read the horse the millisecond the horse is even thinking about the correct behaviour to provide either reward or relief. We're a little bit slower, so this is something we really need to attune ourselves to. The timing of this is imperative. So if you think positive reinforcement is getting off your horse after a good ride, untacking it, taking to the stable and giving a carrot, no, that will not work, and your horse will not learn from that. Your horse needs to be provided either the reward or the relief immediately after the behaviour. And conversely, if you provide reward or relief unknowingly, you have simply reinforced a behaviour that your horse has just done. So remember, we're teaching the horse with every interaction. Sometimes we teach them bad things and sometimes we teach them good things. But go back and review these methods. Are you using negative and positive reinforcement correctly? Remembering negative reinforcement is not bad negative, but taking something away. I'm going to have a look at a few more of these specific training terms next week's video. So to answer the question, is your friend's training technique or your riding instructor or the person on the internet you're following or somebody else who's commented on your Facebook post, who of those is correct? Maybe all of them. Just check, are they following the basic principles of horse learning? And does it suit you? Can you perform this training? Is it within your capability? And if not, get help, because we're reinforcing that bad behavior as well. Thanks for listening. I hope this has been helpful. Subscribe to the channel. All that happens when you subscribe is you get notified of a new release. Please click on the like button if you've liked this video, and I'll speak to you next week.